Furious Michelle just abandoned Barack on tarmac after his sick personal admission came out. Since the day Barack and Michelle Obama left the White House, the facade of marital bliss was over. The two haven't stopped traveling, and while appearing to be mostly together as they globe-trot, their latest trip today came to an abrupt end on the tarmac, as furious Michelle stormed off on her own. Barack was spotted looking rather solemn after, likely from the humiliation of a sick admission that leaked at the wrong time to his wife, who has been along for the free ride. The Obama's marriage appeared to be as fake as the former president's love of this country. The act of a compassionate father and husband was one that the couple could barely keep together by the bitter end of 2 tiring presidential terms. Since the family became civilians, the skeletons they thought were locked away for good have come parading out now that they aren't protected by the presidency any longer. Although the couple stands to make a substantial amount on their memoir by somewhat exposing these sordid details, they thought that they were in control of what tidbits came out. However, other people are seeing opportunities to cash in and are answering long-lingering questions that have been speculation until this point. Unfortunately for Michelle, not even she was prepared for certain truths that affect her personally and apparently aren't worth helping Obama hide now that he's humiliated her. The mantra Michelle chanted for 8 years about female empowerment and being a wife and mother who has it all, including a successful, happy marriage, was all done in vain since she was only a piece to Obama's scandalous puzzle. The former president's sexuality has recently come into question given reasonable evidence and his own words which suggest he considered homosexuality. However, before Michelle, there were several other women of different ethnicities who Barack at least pretended to be interested in enough to ask for their hand in marriage. Whether this was a cover-up for his gay tendencies, knowing that it was political suicide, or just Barack being a bit of a player, what's recently come out is that Michelle wasn't his first wife choice, but was the best for his presidential aspirations. While she may have heard this in reports after her husband's former lovers broke their silence last week, providing proof of super sappy love notes he wrote, which will make you sick, what really set Michelle off was what her husband publicly said today while receiving an award he begged for. Barack had many volatile love relationships with a variety of women, as detailed by David J. Garrow, who described Obama as determined and inquisitive, while conflicted about his roles as a man and as an African American in his book, Rising Star, The Making of Barack Obama. NY Post reported that Obama first met Alex McNear at Occidental College, where he wrote poems for a literary magazine she ran. His written prowess was expressed in his love letters, which reeked of fake flattery. "I trust you know that I miss you, that my concern for you is as wide as the air, my confidence in you as deep as the sea, my love rich and plentiful," he wrote, according to the Post. "Please comfort me with another letter when you get a chance." Obama broke it off with McNear, which she believes was done to increase his political opportunities, bettered by marrying a black woman. All of this came to a head today when Barack landed in Boston to accept an award he practically begged for, and Michelle was nowhere to be seen at the airport with him. He was visibly sulking, and chances are, it's because his wife refused to fly with him knowing all of this scandal. However, she did make appearances at the awards ceremony, where they arrived separately, and he humiliated her once again with his acceptance speech. Proving that their marriage was nothing more than a political arrangement, which they both benefited from, was what Barack said in his speech. He stumbled over the words he couldn't take back once they slipped through his lips, as reported by The Independent. After accepting his Profile in Courage Award today, he thanked Michelle for her obligation. "I also want to thank Michelle Obama for, after the presidency, sticking with me," he said, which many in the audience found funny, but not necessarily in light of the truth that had recently come out of their convenient relationship. "Because I think she felt an obligation to the country to stay on, but once her official duties were over, it wasn't clear," he added. The fake affection between Barack and Michelle was palpable throughout his presidency, and now we're learning that it was because these two were just using each other to further themselves, not unlike their Democratic counterparts, Bill and Hillary Clinton. Now that they're out of the White House, they seem to be heading for divorce, at least as far as their constant traveling arrangements are concerned. Each member of that family seems to live separate lives, including the youngest, Sasha, who has been out of sight for the last several months while her parents travel the globe, trading time with her for that with their famous friends.